Yeah. So we are in progress of implementing this architecture diagram. So we we implemented this complete VPC, and then VPC, right, for security in the real time, we don't use the default. Always we use our own VPC. So the best pattern majority people will follow are the depends upon their architecture, but good practice to go always three subnets category. One is public, private, which is app, and there is the data. So in the public, we keep Bastion and then the load balancer. Bastion for admins, load balancer for end users purpose. And then application layer, where we run our applications. So we did ran Tomcat, Apache, and then the last session we ran the WordPress also, which is the PHP based application on top of Apache. We ran it here. And then we created the database. Very important, the database, what database type, that depends upon the application nature. So we need to connect with the developers and then they'll tell us what database we are using. So in our case, we are using MySQL. I created the MySQL database here. Uh, for EC2s, we need a subnets. For load balancers also, we will select subnets. Here for RDS, we don't directly select the subnets. We will select the subnet group, that you should be aware. So after creating the MySQL, this MySQL we cannot connect from outside. So only we within the VPC we are able to connect, because we made the RDS as a private, never expose the RDS into the outside. Then last session I tried to connect to the MySQL from Bastion and as well as the application. Which application I ran is that, always remember when I say application, first keyword you should get into the mind is the which language. So I was using PHP language. There is one configuration file. Inside the configuration file, I had given some properties. One is the database name. If you remember, I had given the CMS content thing. Second is the RDS endpoint, username, and then the password. Sometimes the port number also required. That application is connected. As an admin also, I have connected to the RDS from here to here. Obviously, RDS will have a security group. I have allowed application as well as the Bastion security group I have allowed. Then I have used here MySQL CLI commands. I have installed one CLI tool, MySQL-H username password. Then I was able to connect from here to the RDS. I have able to connect it. This is the flow. So once I connect it, I am able to see like what databases are there, show databases, show tables, to switch a specific database, use and all something. So you should know that in one database instance, you can create multiple databases. This is the one server. Inside one server, you can create multiple databases. Like for example, dummy, I created it. One more, I created CMS. Like that, you can create multiple database types. It depends upon the environment architecture. Sometimes people they don't want to create multiple, they'll create one database. For one more, they'll create one more servers. It depends upon the cost and all, everything will involve here. So we did this complete flow, we were able to access it. So some important, I was telling the keywords. When I say databases, when you are selecting RDS purely structured, it doesn't fit for the unstructured. Unstructured, for example, you can store like S3 documents and all, you can upload, and then there are other databases at the DynamoDB, blah blah. So for now, RDS is the purely structured. There will be database tables. Tables will have rows and columns, that thing. So always database RDS will have a second security group, and then RDS we will create inside the subnet group. That is very important. And RDS, when you're creating RDS, one of the important is the multi-agent. For production, always enable the multi-agent. That is important. Like username, passwords are the extra. And if you want to connect to the RDS, always endpoint is important. And then the username, password. You can create from CLI or from the applications also. From CLI, as an admin, I used to connect. From applications, the developer will do the connectivity configuration to the database behind whatever that. So we were able to connect with the CLI kind of tool to the thing here. So we ran some basic queries, show tables, show connect, this thing like show tables thing. I have connected as an admin as well as the application I was able to connect. So I have shown some example codes, how the Python code, how the data Java code, everywhere common. That's a common pattern. You need a few components, endpoint, username, password, and then the port number, then DB name. These are the some basic properties you need. Config properties, I'll say the config properties. From application to the database. You take any language code, those are common. It will be common. So we connected from application to RDS, we did that. So I'll prepare these queries again. These are all we did. Check Apache running or not. Yeah. So other one I was telling it. Sometimes you will get a task called backup. So you have to take the backup before some kind of activities if you are doing it. Backup individual database you can take backup, and then total RDS also. If you take total RTS backup, whatever the so databases are there, I was telling it in one database instance, you can have multiple databases. All backups will come automatically. Otherwise, you can take single backup also. Single backup, I was telling it, there is a command called MySQL dump FNH endpoint, then hyphen U username hyphen P, then the DB name, the backup.sql. Same to restore the same command, it will be in, yeah, I think, yeah, this is the one. So they'll ask you this question. I want to take specific backup, then the dump, MySQL dump, or the total backups is the total, like if you go to the RDS console, we did the manual backup if you remember. Let's go here, database, select here, somewhere you will have an option, take a snapshot. This is a manual backup. So we created this backup like specific date. Do we have tenure here? By this time, there will be automatic backups also. If you see here, right? Everyday backup will be happening by default. January 2nd. This was the something we did automatically backup. It happened. It will happen. So here, when did we create this configuration? Can you see the times when this instance created it? Somewhere one of the property will be there. Yeah. This is the time the instance has been created it. So by from the time the everyday the backup will happen. So you can take manual backup or automatically backups will happen. So every backup will be named as a snapshot. If you go here, this is the manual backup which I took it. 2023 specific timeline 30. If you go here system backup, you will see the lot of backups. Even if my instance goes down, I can restore this database from here. But whatever the data before the backup time, that data will only be available. How long, how much time it will take to set up again, that is called RTO. To which point the data will come, that is called RPO. Those two keywords are important, RTO and RPO. Okay. So, so my objective today is like, we'll be continuing towards that same flow, the VPC related components and then the application components. So primary my objective was the application, how it is connected to the RDS, that is the one. And then what are the extra components of the application will connect? That is what my objective for today. We'll continue that VPC again, the flow. Once you are well aware of on the application related. So class 30. Yeah. Can you guys tell me here, if you remember, which application we ran last time? We ran one application.
Apache WordPress.
Yeah, I'll say that yes, WordPress. Or you can say that that application is called Content Management System. People will call CMS.
CMS.
We ran the CMS application. Which language?
PHP.
PHP. Which server we are using to run this code?
Apache.
So we run this with server, yes. Always keep in mind, if you are talking application, the first question you should get this is the one. Anytime when someone says application keyword, some application name, if they say, the first question you should ask is which language, and then on which server you are running it. That is the first question you should have knowledge. Next question you should ask is, yeah, what are the components it is connecting it? Please, you know this. Which components it is connecting it? This application. Components, or you can say that services. This is the one I was telling it. Here is application is running. It is connecting to the one component right here as for this.
Ah,
Yeah. Which component, which service it is connecting?
RDS. It's like database.
Yeah. It is connecting with the RTS. So this, who will tell us this configuration?
Developer.
Developer. Check with, you can say that Dev team. They knows it like before us very well on the application. What are the components it needed and done. So very important, please. This is one of the very important keyword. Where do we configure dependency components? In a, this is one of the very important. You should know that. So please keep this. This is the for my next any topics. If I'm going it, this is the one you should be knowing by default. Oh, application is connected to this component. There will be something that is the one source of truth to connectivity. All those dependencies configured. Yeah. Like for example, every application there will be some kind of I would say config properties, like kind of file. It kind of like dot properties file. There kind of some YAML. There kind of some kind of, you would say, XML, or some kind of, like, you remember, there are a lot of, depends upon uh, the Python code directly. Java code, no, we won't edit Java. We don't directly deploy it. There is no Java. For Java, if they are using, they could have hard coded in the Java code, or they could have made in the property file, or like for example PHP. So for example, we took WordPress code, right? In the WordPress code, if you remember, one file, WP config. Yeah.
Config.php.
In this one, we had given only the RDS information only. Let's say, for example, in the real time, so there will be some other dependencies also will come. Like my application want to connect to, in AWS, there are other services also. Other like S3 bucket. Let's say, let me keep it here. And this is the this is the page. This is the page. This is the page. In the, let me go here example that in the real time itself I should, for example, the real time in the sense in the real application itself. You used to write some videos, this some images, some animation and all, right? So you remember I was telling it, what is the good place to store all these things? The some place, right? Images and all. This is the some, this content is, you think it, this is the WordPress only. This content will come from the that RDS. But this image, videos and all, what is the good place to store these things?
S3, S3.
Yeah. So in this case, if I ask you this question, what are the components?
Mm.
What is the another guy? RDS or
S3.
this, right? One more, what is that? S3, something. So there will be a lot of other dependencies also will be there, for example. So S3 name, artist name, some other names in AWS service. Good to have a separate configuration file. Always depend application needed dependency information. We define one of these files always. Good to go. That is called. Remember, I'll be telling it next time onwards. This is the application dependency configuration. This developer will tell you, hey, there will be configuration file. You have to mention that all this information. Otherwise, you have to ask him when they give the code. You have RDS endpoint, S3 or other dependencies where I need to mention, because every environment will have a separate configuration. Depends upon that. Based on this only your application will behave it. So always remember, very important is what is the application dependency configuration. Example, mostly S3 or RDS or some other dependencies also, lot of dependencies. So in the real, the big applications, they'll not depend upon the only one guy. They'll depend upon lot of configuration will be there. So always remember, when I say application, the dependencies always will be called as a configuration, dependency configuration. They'll be defined in one of these property file. Properties also you can say that. Any questions, any queries you want to ask on it? As a DevOps guy, this is our job to take care, to create the dependencies configuration. Our job is to configure. Cool. So let me go here. Little on the RDS related, security related thing, the performance related thing. End user is coming. The call is going to the load balancer. Load balancer to application. Application is connecting with the RDS. So this is the pure, whenever it is connecting like this is the dynamic application or static application. This is the one.
Dynamic.
Dynamic. It's not from Apache and all. So again, it is depending upon the some other guy. Let's say that this is the dynamic application. Dynamic application. So now every call, let's say for example, more users are coming. In this flow, you remember I was telling very important guy, one guy who is very important in this flow.
Drive an application error.
In this flow, what is the very important guy in this flow?
RDS.
RDS.
Database.
Database is very important. All your data is coming from here. So our job is to, let's say for example, more users are coming, more, let's say for example, if there is a bug in the code or something, let's say for example, the more load will go to where right now. More users are something like there is a bug in the application and then it is trying to connect to the more connections and all, where the load will go, more load will go on the RDS. Like for example, whenever users are coming, obviously the connections will.
Yes.
This you can do. This you can do. Let's say one more EC2 you will bring it up, and then you will scale this easily. One more EC2 like this. But if you want to span the RDS, right, you can create more RDS instances also. You can have one more RDS also. But please remember it. If you are updating this RDS is called replica. You can create a replica RDS also. One more replica also you can create. You can create it. This is a bit costlier than the EC2. You can create like this. Now, please listen it. If you have multiple RDS instances, if same databases are there, whenever application is writing, whenever it is writing, it cannot write to multiple RDS. Always application in a nature, RDS in a nature, the databases in a nature, they will write allow only to one guy. They'll replicate this data to other people. They'll replicate it.
Write or write to primary.
Read to
Read to
many.
many.
You can read from many. But when you are writing, right, you should always write to this guy only. But this internally will replicate to these components. When you are writing, right, you shouldn't. I mean, the RDS at all won't allow it, because that the database there is a formula. When you are writing it, you should write at one place that has to replicate to other one. If you are trying to write at multiple places, right, there will be inconsistency will come for data. So with this nature, right, you have to secure this a lot when you're writing this thing, the data. One second.
నీకేమైనా ఇబ్బంది నువ్వే తట్టుకోలేక
Please keep this mind. In the real time, when your application is writing to the RDS, we make RDS to one guy as the primary or the master, the primary guy. And then remaining will be the replicas. From these replicas, you can do queries. Now with this mind, right, I want to update. Let's say that primary. I want to make update. Update will go to the primary or replica.
Primary.
Primary.
Delete.
Delete
Primary
also
one.
primary.
Insert also primary. Everything will be here only primary.
Only select or replica.
Only for this is select. Here also select will go. Here also select will work. So now with this, right? Now we are with this mindset. Now we are with this mindset. Okay, keep this thought. With this, right? Now what will happen? What all will go? I was saying, right? Update, delete, select. Everything will go to which guy now?
Primary.
Primary only.
Primary.
Now, so it is also getting the data. Select also will get the data right here. So what happens here? Whatever the, let's say, for example, this user accessed some kind of content. Next time, whenever he is getting the same content, right? Again, the query will go here. Again, the query will be doing it. So sometimes what we will do in the real time, if we get the some data from here, if multiple users are coming for the same data, store in a cache here. Cache. Bring from DB repeated data. This we don't write here. Developer will write the code here. What application does? One guy is coming from here. He is getting the data. Next time, same user is coming from the data. First, where it will check in the cache. It will check in the cache whether the data is there or not. If it is there, it will give it from here itself. It will not go to where at all now. RDS. With this flow, right? You are reducing burden on whom now?
RDS. Database.
So keep that in the majority in the real-time applications, right? We use it, one guy, this guy in between. This guy, we use it.
It is in browser, right? Cache.
No. There is a service called Elastic Cache.
Okay.
This is not the browser. This is called RTA. Sorry. There is a famous guy called Redis. This is the Redis. Let me put it here. This guy. Redis. Elastic Cache. There are two types of caches. AWS one. This is the famous one. Redis will be used. So whenever user comes, the first application where it will check, this is developer will take care. Please, I have seen in the real time. If you introduce this cache, right, application will be very fast compared to the primary RDS. I mean to say primary, I mean to say not the compared to the you are getting from RDS to here, right? Application will become very fast. I forgot the number, but I have seen it. Let's say, for example, if it is taken without cache, right? If it was like 3 minutes something with cache, it was like less than 1 minute. I remember it. The performance we have seen recently, we introduced it on application. Now, one of this is Elastic Cache is in the real time we use this a lot. They'll ask you this kind of, if every application they'll have this kind of, I have seen it. They'll introduce it, caching. Why we are using it?
For performance improvement.
Better. DB data, session data. You remember, you remember like normally like when you log into any SPA website, your credentials, username, password and all, behind they will store here. Elastic Cache only they'll store. Behind they'll store it. Session data. Like when you do shopping cart, right? Let's say for example, you went to Flipkart website. You selected it one item like mobile. Next you are going to the one more page, right? So there will be one option add to cart. You have not made the full transaction. If you made the full transaction, right, all your data will go here in the RDS behind if you complete the transaction data. So you have not yet completed your transaction, but you added that item to only cart. That Next, you went to another page. So you added the item to cart, right? That cart is till it is carrying to the total your transaction. Till the temporary information we will store behind in the code in the Elastic Cache. The developer will design it. Here, our job is to create this component like RDS, give the username, password, port number, endpoint to the developer. That is what our job. How it is being used cache and all, you have to tell that there is a cache, please use this cache. If that is what you have to tell to the developer. Okay. Session data, I was telling it. That is called session tracking. You can say that transaction data, temporary. Cart, I was telling one more, cart information, cart, shopping cart. All this they'll store in this shopping cart. DB data. And then the SSO login credentials temporary. Like you logged into the page, right? For example, that SSO login info temporary they'll store.
So this will support any language, right? That database language like SQL or.
Elastic Cache doesn't have any language. No, it doesn't have any language.
So if they are using anything, so it will support.
Yes, yes. If they use MySQL, they use Postgres, they'll use it. This has its own language.
Okay.
So it,
Okay.
it doesn't depend on the specific RDS. No, they can use any, but because here the application is connecting, right? It has its own language thing. Yeah.
Okay.
So why we are using it? Very important is this is the
Perform.
to make the application performance and to reduce the burden on which guy
RDS.
database. So yeah, very important. Next. So my intro was for this guy. There is a famous guy in Elastic Cache. They have two components, guy. One is the mem store thing. This is the AWS guys. There is a one more guy, the open source one, Redis. So I have seen majority people using this Redis one. This is the multi-threaded. I think yeah, multi-threaded depends upon nature. Application design. So let me go here. I'm going to add. Where do we place the cache component? This is so. This is so.
Data submit.
Yeah, recommended to go in the database subnet only. This is the preferred one. Cache. So flow, like the flow will be not like this. It will not, cache will not get from here directly. No, cache will not get from database. It doesn't know that. Who will store the data into the cache? Let's say, for example, this application will connect to the application connects to the RDS, then application only will store the data into the cache later. There is no direct connectivity between the cache to no. Who will store the data in the cache is the application guy. This is the flow. You will heard this name multiple times. Redis, the real time they use. If you ask me, like in the real time, 10 applications will use the cache, irrespective of what RDS they are using it. There is a cache that is called the Redis. Who stores? Can you guys help me here? What did you want? Who will store the data in the cache?
Developer.
Yeah,
Application.
application. Yes, that they'll design it. Our job is here, create cache. So like load balancer easy to write. Cache will also have a security group. And then the subnets. I think here also subnet group will be there. These are the basic things. And it will have an endpoint and it will have a port number. These are the basic things. How do I connect as an admin if I want to connect? There will be Redis CLI will be there with this also. And obviously, yeah, now you have to tell me. There is a dependency configuration. How application connects to the Redis?
Through Bastion.
No, application, not you.
Okay.
Now, how application connect to the Redis?
We have to allow the port,
We
right?
have to
for-
Yeah,
allow.
yeah, you have allowed the port number.
Hmm.
That is perfect. Networking connectivity is there now. You see, right? I was telling na. In the application, there is a configuration properties file. In the configuration property file, you have to pass this Redis information also.
Okay. Understand.
This is
Here also, the same configuration file with
same
okay.
pattern.
Huh.
Now I was telling, right? What are the dependencies now? Application dependencies. For example, you keep this mind also S3 also in the mind. Think that S3 is there, one more Redis is there, one more RDS is there. All that information now extra properties are coming. Any other properties, all those, this is them. There will be configuration dependencies we have to define there. Now, what is the extra guy is? Redis.
It is.
So please configuration file, the configuration properties one. In that we will define that. Application will look into that. From there it knows it. Developer has written the code. Hey, connect to the RDS, then connect to the Redis, connect to the S3. Always it will look into the property file. Very important. So with that, let me introduce this. So my objective was, this is the one. Applications we use. In the real time, what are the dependencies? So in the RDS point of view, if you RDS, I want to reduce the load, we use one of the famous guys called cache. Let's take cache. Go here. It's cache. There will be memcache and then Redis. I'll be going with the Redis cache only. Yeah, here also you have a subnet group like RDS. Create a subnet group. My one VPC. It doesn't take much time. Six, even I think these three. Let me see. Observe here. If we go to the subnet groups, this is a separate subnet group of the RDS one. Both are different. 61, 3 to 80. Selected all of them. Go next page. 80. Let's see if I want. Let's go with the 81. Done. 3 to 61.
నాకు పేజ్ 2 లో ఫస్ట్ లో ఉంది చూడు 32.
This way. Yeah. Three,
First one.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
3-2.
Okay, first one. So, yeah. So like same, like RDS, RDS also will have subnet group. Create. First is the subnet group is the prerequisite. We keep it here. Lab. Create. Cache. So prerequisite is subnet group. And let's go back here. Create an Redis cache. Serverless. Oh my gosh. Oh my god, they brought the serverless design your own cache. Yeah, I think this is new thing. We go always this guy, the design our own cache, production one. PV4, you see subnet group automatically, and obviously it will create default settings. Where is the net security group? We'll get a security group also. Get default one automatically. With security group, yeah, it is taking the default security group. Where is editable option? View default settings. So you remember this is what I was telling it. We create a separate security group. That is the one. What is the option I selected? The easy create. Acha. This is the cluster cache. You see it? These are the properties. I selected the easy. That's why I was not able to modify it. I think now I can. AWS Cloud. Enable multi-AZ. Yeah, this is the one. Yeah. Can you guys help me here? This is the properties, Instance family type. EC2 will have a what type of family type? EC2, if you remember. Can you guys tell me one instance family?
M5 2x large.
2x large, blah blah. And DB instance family?
DB dot 5.
Yeah, very important. DB dot. Same way, cache will also have a family type. Okay. Now this will be like cache dot. So the cache instance name will start with the cache. This will be like, this will be with the DB. So you have to know this form. I mean the logic thing. Okay. So here with that, you select cache X large type. Can for EC2, how much RAM and how can I say that how much RAM is being allocated based upon this instance type, right? This is also same instance type. You have to Google somewhere and then you have to remember that number. Now for EC2, do we have EBS or not?
Yes, we have.
EBS one. For RDS?
RDS, no.
No, there will be EBS. There will be storage, right? Obviously. This is storage. Storage will be there. Storage. Here also storage will be there. For cache, no storage. Then you remember there is no storage at all for cache. They don't store. But you remember what I was telling? What is the question I was asking here? What data it will store, right? It will store not data. Cache will store the data, right? From this architecture diagram also, it is getting the data, right? Application is storing some data, temporary data here. So please, very important thing, cache will have a storage. It will be, then where is storage? Then where is storage? It is in memory, where it will store everything on the RAM. Everything will be on the RAM. It will be in the memory. In memory storage. Drawback with this in memory, right? For example, in your laptop itself, you opened a video. Laptop. Where is, let's say you copied some movie in your laptop. Your laptop is having CPU plus RAM plus storage, which is called hard disk. Where it will store? You copied the disk. You copied a movie now to your laptop. Where is it will store? In CPU, RAM, or hard disk? Where it will store?
Hard disk.
Hard disk. Now you are playing a video, that same video. Now it will be behind, will be stored part of here, whatever playing from CPU, and then it will store. Hard disk will be dead. Video will be pulled into the RAM on the fly. Now your laptop has been restarted. Will video come back again, or you have to play again?
You have to play again.
Play again. From where you will be playing again? From hard disk, right? Again.
Hard disk,
So RAM is temporary or permanent?
Temporary.
temporary.
Temporary. We will be calling, there is a call ephemeral, non-ephemeral something. It's ephemeral, I think. It will change. The data will be changed. In-memory data. RAM is called in-memory. So whatever that's why, who is fast? RAM is fast or hard disk is fast?
RAM is
RAM is fast.
RAM is fast. So with that, right, cache doesn't have storage. Whatever the data it is coming, it will store in the RAM only. If you restart the cache, if you reboot the cache, whatever the data in the in-memory, it will get flush. It will get removed. If you restart or reboot, I think reboot only. Cache will get cleared. In the real time, right? In the non-prod environment, not in the production, in the non-production environment, dev stage, pre-prod, you will get some kind of task. Hey, can you reboot this cache node, Elastic Cache node? Please go ahead. You can reboot, not a problem. You can reboot it without, again, the data will come. You can go. So one of the tasks you will get it is reboot the cache instance. Just to, like, they were getting some old data every time application. They are not getting the latest data. For that time, they want to reboot it. Something. Cool. Multi-agent because of this thing. VPC, cache time, blah, blah. Here, it's in the cloud. The port number is not like the 679 difference. These are, I mean, the Tumble port number like Apache. Let me go with a smaller instance. You see, right? Whatever it, all are bigger type instances only. Let me go with some cache. Number of replicas, let's go with 1. Now, you enter the number of replicas between 0 to, yeah, let me go with 1. Connectivity, I'll go with the subnet group. Availability zone placement, like that's okay, no preference. Subnet group, I selected it. Next. That's okay, don't enable it. Security group, here are the security group. Let me create this, to take it, the manage. For now, I will enable the default one. You think it. Let's go with the RDS one only here also. Yeah. Security group, I have assigned it. Cache also will get backed up. That's okay. Like, we don't keep it for longer days. After 1 day, just delete that automatically backup. Maintenance, like RDS also maintenance. Preferred is the maintenance in the sense AWS will do some upgrade patch by themselves. What is the good time to allow to AWS? Maintenance. What is the good time? I was telling you, right?
Midnight. Weekends.
Weekends, midnights.
Yeah, backup is the midnight, the usually out of business hours. Maintenance is always prefer the weekends. Yeah, it depends upon area. This is the 12. It will be, our time is like 5:30 a.m.
5:30 morning.
That's okay. It will be made an upgrade. Topics. If there is some application slow, it will enable the logs also. Next. Yeah. So my objective was here. Why we are using cache? I want to reduce the load on the RDS. In the real time also, major applications, they'll be using cache. That is the one. Second thing is RDS Elastic Cache will also have a security group, endpoint, port number, like how you connect to the load balancer properties, same way. And other thing is it doesn't have a storage. It is in memory one. When I say cache, the famous name is the Redis. And then can I flush the Redis content? Yes. it doesn't, not a problem. You will get back the same content again if application will store the data. These are the some things I want to tell. Cool. Create. Cool. If you go here, somewhere you will get the endpoint. Somewhere you will get the endpoint. I think this is the, yeah, primary endpoint. You will get the here, the endpoint, you will get it here, the primary. So what data here we will store, that is not our job. That is the developer will take it, what data has to come up and all something. If you want to, you will get, you can reboot this. Here you see that you will get one option. Reboot the node. Automatically the data will get flushed away. We will select this. This I used to get lot, this kind of task. Not in the production, in the non-prod. If someone comes to the production, I don't do, like they have to bear that maintenance, I mean the effect and all. That's business critical, right? We don't do the production. In the non-production stage and all I used to do. This is the one of the my regular task. I used to get it. Cool. So now application is, I want to make the more fast. I don't want to put the load on the RDS. I used to, we need to introduce the component called cache. This is what our job, create it. And then get the endpoint. Properties. We'll have endpoint. And then the port number. If you want to enable the security, username, something, password will be there. That you have to enable it extra. So these are all cache properties. Where do we define?
Configuration file in.
Yeah. Yes. The configuration file. Please, we will be calling this name also config map also. You can think it, config map. The config.
So separate configuration file for this, right? Each component.
No, it depends upon up to the developer.
Okay.
Yeah, it's up to the developer. But we prefer it. Why to keep it in separate? We ask them like, let's put it in one
That
place.
I remember. Now I'm asking, it's going to be in the WP configuration file, or it's a different for the cache Redis also.
No, it depends upon the developer. Like,
Okay.
yeah. Better to go in the one configuration file or config map. Cool. So can you guys help me here? So this is my objective. Know your application well. That is one. The map property file.
Yeah. So name, username, password, and
Yeah, that I got it. Like whatever you said is correct, but my objective was like what and all dependencies, like for example. Let me put it like this. I told one is RTS. Another I was telling is the cache. Another I told, right, one more.
S3.
S3, like all this. For RDS, what are the basic things as a DevOps guy you have to provide?
Endpoint, username and password, port number,
And then the
DB name.
same applies here as well.
Cache.
Here DB name won't be there, they'll take it here. Here some name. S3 will have a name that developer will look into that. So please remember, please keep this thought. This I will carry next for many applications here. Okay, that is that. So you know that to reduce the burden on the this guy, the RDS guy, we have to have in our application flow. One of the important guy is the cache. Cache is in memory. It doesn't store anything on the hard disk. It will be very speed because it is storing everything on the RAM. And then you will get one of the task is the reboot that this guy, the nodes, Redis nodes. This is the one of the task. With this, my application want to connect to the Redis, right? Now here, go to that security group. Is there no? The security group. I can allow 2 of them here as an admin. These are the for RDS connectivity. I have to allow 2 more port numbers, right? I have to replicate now this one. What
Yeah,
is the port number?
6379.
Yeah, 6379. Who will connect here? Apache guy from app. Let's say that from app. There is a one more guy as an admin if I want to connect
Version double
from the
637.
Bastion. Yeah,
Yeah, next.
Bastion. Bastion. We also will connect as an like you connected from MySQL CLI, right? There is a Redis CLI. With the Redis CLI also you will be able to connect just to see. Like there are some Redis CLI comments are there. Like so. What are the like for example in the how many databases are there? How do you check in the data in the MySQL?
Show databases.
Like here in the Redis, right? We do there is a command called key star. Key star. Don't do key star in the real time. Just to normally to test in the non-pod we don't do in the. If you want to see specific, it will list you like developer will do develop. Who create these keys?
Developer.
Redis application is. Keys nothing but the key like let's say for example like this username. Your username will be there. Next one more username. Like for example like this username password like this it will be there. These are all called key values. Key and then the value will be there like this. Like this it will store in the Redis. Now if you do key star right, it will say username like this it will store. You want to see specific thing, then we need to pass get username like this. There are some Redis CLI commands will be there. Basics. Some basics like set, get. Very like we don't do regularly this one. This application will take it. Sometimes they wanted to know on that key, developer will come to you. In that case, you need to know that these Redis will be connected from Bastion, Redis CLI. Then you can ask them. Otherwise, you join the call and then you ask them only this. Can you give me the command? What command I can use it? That's way also will work. These are the basic things you should know that about the Redis basic things. And then how my application is connecting is the properties. What are the dependencies? These are the ones. These are the ones you can recommend to the developer also. If application is slow, they are coming back to you every time. This is slow. And then when you see the RDS is a heavily CPU memory being used. Mandatory then introduce this cache guy. That you can tell them. That is what our job. You can introduce the cache. So you remember with this, my objective was for today is know the application and then reduce the introduce one of the layer the cache, reduce the burden on the address. With this, let me take one more advantage on the application flow in the real time what we use. You remember I was telling right one thing. When you do a shopping cart, for example, you purchased an item. This information will go to you did a Flipkart shopping cart. This information behind will go to the multiple people, right? You remember I was telling it.
Yes, yes. Yes. The cart guy, the delivery manager,
Exactly, the delivery guys.
and delivery guys.
Where is this? Yeah, one application. Please, this is I'm telling on the application with the mindset. Know your application very well. The application. This is the application you think it. As a user, you are coming here. You are coming. And then behind this application depends upon the other applications also. Lot of applications. Whatever you are entered the data in the application, you will enter the data right here. Data. You will enter the data. You remember I told one long back one name for this data. I told one name. In a form, we enter data. You remember I told one name if you remember. That is called
Yes.
Message. Anything in the form, in anything, the shopping cart. You did a shopping cart now. In the shopping cart, you selected items. That is end user keyword. If you ask me as a developer point of view, I'll say that as a message. Message, or I'll say that data. Now you did a shopping cart, you did a checkout, you paid also amount, that thing, your transaction has been completed. Now your transaction completed, right? The total data, that I will call as a message. The total information has to pass to a lot of people now. What is that guy? Another guy you remember? I was saying delivery guy, and then one more that original shopping person, like this. Like there are other applications will share your data. Who is producing here? The data here, this application, and then it is putting here. These guys are taking this data. Lot of people from one place. Let me say it like 1 to n. Can I say like this? One guy is putting the data. Lot of people consuming right here.
Yes.
So whatever you did a shopping cart item, that you are keeping this data, you completed the transaction. You will get email also, right? One more email also you'll get, and then one more. What is that? Mobile message also you'll get it. So when you did a shopping cart thing, that data is getting shared into the multiple applications behind 1 to n. One guy is bringing the data, n guys are taking the data. Let me keep it like this. Producer, that is called consumers. Consumers. Now let me go here to this architecture itself. In this architecture, there is a dependence applications are outside. These guys are outside. There are the other applications are outside. You did a transaction, you did a end-to-end transaction here, this transaction, and then this application want to share the transaction information to other people. Other people. Let me keep it here. From here to keep it from here to it want to send the data to here. Okay, cool. So now, if this application goes down, this other application went down, what is your transaction status now? You did a complete transaction. While sending this information, this application went down. Now, what is that problem here? You guys getting or not? You are sending this information, you did transaction, these applications went down, like one of the application went down. Will he get the data, this delivery guy?
No.
You won't get the data, right? In the real time, what we do, keep this, we will store this information in the temporary one place here. Temporary place. Whatever this doing the transaction, right? It will store here. These guys, right? Whenever they are running, whenever like even if this goes down also, data will be this guy where he is storing right now. He is giving directly to this guy or he is storing at temporary place here.
Temporary.
Temporary it is storing here. He is not directly sending to these guys.
Yes.
So these guys, whenever they are available, it went down now. Now what happens here? If it comes back, it will go and then fetch the data again here like this. So what I mean here, there is an application want to connect with the app 2. Here is the app 1. Whenever directly, if you call it, if this app 2 goes down, there will be impact. This app 1 will get like 500 error or the timeout errors and all. If there is a dependencies like this, or app 2 or app 3, don't directly call these guys. If you get like this, introduce a guy called separately message storing place. This is a temporary. Till these guys will get the data temporary. For this, in AWS, there is a service called, there are many are there. One of the famous one is the SQS one. Another one is the Kafka. We'll call. So I'll introduce this guy, SQS1. My job is to create this SQS1, give it to develop, give it in the configuration file. That application will automate whenever it get the data, it will store here. This application, guys, they will get this data. That is one. So why we are using this guy? Whenever there is a dependencies between 1 to n applications, I don't want to make a data loss chances. I want to store some temporary one place. For that purpose, I'm going to create these guys. Let me make it here. Like cache. This is not the cache guy. I would say that. Temporary. Place. In AWS, there are the services called SQS. One more is the Kafka. Kafka name called as MSK, Manager Service Kafka. Okay, let me put it like this. So, can you guys tell me who uses here? Who uses these components?
Application.
Applications. Why they are using?
To store messages.
Yeah. To share the data to across application. Please, whatever you are using in the Zomato, Flipkart, behind this guy will be there. One of these guys they are using. They'll be using it in the real time because nowadays our applications are not 1-to-1. Nowadays applications are 1-to-n. So with this, whatever you store, you see the architecture diagram, somewhere they'll be using this component to share the data across applications. Why can't they store directly? If these applications goes down, there is a chances of what? Data loss. I don't want to go with the data loss. Then temporarily I'll create it. This guy will store here. Then these guys will consume here. What is our job here? Create those temporary queues, or also the queues. SQSQ, or we call it the topic. That is what our job. Then I'll come to the same question back. Topics are queues. Now tell me here.
We have to config.
How application connect to these topics are queues?
Same rate again, we have to config the
Yeah. Providing, what is the file?
config
Configuration properties, or one more I was saying there. What is that called?
config map.
Config map. So with this, our job temporarily allocate immediately the MSK bit complex to create. I'll go with the SQS. Very easy to create it. Doesn't take much time. QC rate sending messages and then processing it. That's it. Create a queue. Just a demo. SQS. How long message has to be there till that consuming it? These are some basic properties. This you have to ask the developer. What are the properties? If they're sending very bigger size data, right? Somewhere, yeah, this is the one. Recently we had this issue, like something. So they were sending like something more than something 4 KB something. I think we had given less data. The request were failing it. They told me to increase here. This is the one. Just it doesn't need much things. Just a name, and then the property standard, like this is the one. At least one delivery here, right? Someone has to process at least one time. That's it. Create a queue. That's it. Here, if you go now, here you can see the data. Somewhere you can see that whenever application comes to the data, right? If application sends the data, somewhere you can see here. You have to do more. You can see in the real time also. My objective here, I'll bring you one application who will send a data here? That's what my objective. That's why I'm introducing all this, some kind of stuff here. Okay. So for now, can you guys help me here? What are all dependencies? Different application. For now, what are all the dependencies?
RDS,
We created RDS. One more.
Redis, S3, SQS,
One I created
SQS.
SQS.
SQS. SQS will not have an endpoint. It will have a name. That's it. That name will be name, and then it need a reason as well. Whenever application want to connect, right? These two things you need, name and reason. That you have to provide in the configuration file. Cool. So if I take I'm preparing one sample configuration file or config map. Sample config dot properties, or I'll say that YAML. Okay. Can you guys tell me here for RDS? I'm putting a comment for cache for queue. Can you guys tell me here what how the
Name, database name, username.
these keys you have to ask the developer only what has to be given, and they'll have it. Okay. For now, just the DB. Let's say DB host.
Yeah. See. Name, username,
That's
and DB password,
password.
DB name.
Needed DB port.
Port.
What is the DB port? Depends upon the database type. It will
Database.
switch. But you are familiar, right, with MySQL? What is the port?
3306.
These are the basic things as a DevOps guy you should be aware. Now with the same mindset, let me go here as well.
It will follow the same. Cache host. Cache.
The secured one. Cache password. This you don't need this name.
Not. Yeah. And port 636.
I'm sorry. Yeah. 637.
And it is cache.
Now one more. This is the guy. Q. Just like
Name.
yeah. Say that
Region.
SQS Q name something. SQS. Name something. And then the one of the important is the
Region.
SQS. These are the one property file we will be preparing it. Yeah. Any queries, questions you want to ask on it. So my objective was here primarily that know your application. That is what my objective. What are the dependencies? Any thoughts, questions you want to ask? Yeah.
So any application with dependence we're adding means this is the mandate
Yes.
based on their requirement.
Yes. Yes. Now you tell like there are my application is connecting with S3. Then for example like this. That's it. One more property will come here. S3. Some S3 also need a region. It's a global, but it's a region. S3 name. Yeah. And then S3 region. As a DevOps guy, these are the values I can provide. These are the dependencies, resources. Creating all this our job. How it is being used internally, what data is coming, that is not our job. That developer will take care. Cool. So I'll be please, I would request you guys make a lab, create a cache, and then create a SQS. This is what my job. You can take a lab. So you know let me keep in the architecture diagram also. Right. This is a regional service and it is outside VPC also. This is how we introduce it. If you're attending some real-time interviews, right? One of the questions they'll ask you. This is the famous question, I've seen it. Simple. I have that. Perhaps make it design without fail or without fail or loss of data. They'll ask you this question. I have seen it. So they are expecting that add an intermediate Q layer. This is the Q layer. That is what their objective. I have got this inter question a lot of time. They'll ask you. Okay. So now let me go for my objective was to introduce the application dependency components. What are the dependencies it is connecting it? So now you know the cache, the RDS, and then the SQS layers and all. So I'll make one application which will use all this. I don't do in our session. I'll bring the working code. With that, I'll have a property file. In this property file, I'll be defining it. So I'll bring one existing application. With that, I'll use all these resources. Not now, further. Little once we are familiarized with other dependency topics. Okay, cool. So let me pass it here. So next, my session was like there are the VPs related dependency components. So we'll pass it here on the application layer. Now you know the application dependencies things, basic things. Next, I'll be entering towards the VPs related dependency topics. I'll cover that. Let me pass it here.
Okay.